you know, she was terrified. I was terrified. Our Army went through a transformation that's unlike any that we've ever seen before since World War II. It brought a lot of nations together, you know.
The anniversary is no quiet day for the Australians. Out in the Char-China Valley, the sniper teams are already secreted as part of a large Afghan National Security Force push to clear the valley of Taliban.
One of the teams had identified a number of insurgents that were operating in the area, and obviously, you know, in self-defence, called in a Hellfire strike.
An unmanned US drone locks on the target and releases. Once launched, soldiers spot children moving into the area.
That's when the teams on the ground identified children had actually moved into the engagement area, and that's when we made the call to pull that rocket off station and put it into a safe area.
They do measure up. They're all very aware. They are mature. They know what we're here to do, and they know what we're here to avoid.
On the following afternoon, further reinforcements board 2 Army Chinooks. It takes 15 minutes to fly what in a Bushmaster would have taken days. The problem of approaching on the ground also means the active Taliban spotter network can relay warnings. As they touch down, from the distant tree line, there is sporadic shooting.
Essentially, when I was there observing the CH-47s that were coming in, I've started to receive small arms fire, and obviously just prior to them hitting the deck, we had like multiple RPGs and RCLs sort of landing in and around the helos at that time. And that's when, you know, pretty much we just sort of started coordinating and directing any of the air support onto those locations.
We got someone watch our rear. Yeah, we got more deck around our rear too. Roger. We got 2 teams moving from right to left. Go, covering.
The Commandos, often in larger numbers than the SAS, work on disrupting areas where there are higher concentrations of insurgents.
Yeah, children moving left to right. Hey! Let's go! Go, just go.
The aim was essentially to open the gates to allow them to move through that particular area, and consequently we did.
Morning, gentlemen. Hey, let's space it out a bit so we're not fucking up each other's ass. You've got one guy and a fucking right turn around to the left.
The shock action that's, that occurs on the ground with the insurgents is quite significant. They certainly move out to the periphery areas that we've found, rather than remaining in the area to attempt to try and deny us from carrying out our mission. The successes that we had in that area over the 2 days were significant.
Enemy KIA. One enemy KIA on your first. Yep.
The Commandos have been in the Char-China Valley now for 2 days. With local Afghan forces and the Incident Response Regiment, they search largely empty compounds. Joe, the explosive detection dog, hunts for caches of weapons and hidden mines.
Nothing phases him, which is good. Most of our dogs need to be fairly bold.
Joe is a replacement, his predecessor, Lucky, having vanished during an earlier conflict.
Mortars were firing, it was very loud. I was working the dog at the time and he got scared. And unfortunately, before I got the chance to grab him, he bolted out the door and he was gone. Like about 5 minutes later, we got a report that he's around a K away from our position. So he, done the mad dash.
To the SASR and Commandos, the incident response engineers are brothers in arms.
IRR was out there in front of us every day. Never rest, like always clearing the way for us. You know, we're out there actively seeking the enemy. They're out there actively finding the unseen enemy of IEDs and booby traps. Just such cool, calm and collected dudes. They look fear in the face every day and just get on with it.
In March 2009, the Special Forces Incident Response Regiment lost its first member killed in action.
The guys all know the guys within our unit very well, and we're a fairly tight unit, so any sort of loss like that hits everyone pretty hard.
Take Brett Till, for example. Like, he had, you know, obviously his family at home, and, you know, when you have a family, I guess you'd seem to understand that a little bit more.
Knowing the families and communities they move among and fight both for and against is that much more difficult.
In regards to searching of people, I think you need to take it in a very humane way. First of all, you want to deal with any threat. You quick pat down to make sure they don't have a weapon, and then you take a step back. You treat them how you would want to be treated if you were going to be searched.
Do you have empathy for them?
Yeah, I do. You go into these villages and they live quite poorly. Being a family man myself, you see these little kids walking around, they've got nothing. Back down there, mate.
They either have two choices, and that's to fight or to drop their equipment and run and try to pretend to be a farmer.
We came across an AK-47 bagged up in a cornfield, just underneath a tree in the foliage. Had a magazine on it, was cocked, ready to go.
We'd already been in firefights down in that valley. Then we just moved through the population, and you just got to sort of switch on, switch off. Like, 1 minute you're fighting them, the next minute you're shaking their hands, and you know that's the Taliban. You're shaking their hands, and there's not much you can do about it.
Move back! That thing's gonna go up!
Next, the Commandos deliver a major blow to the Taliban. When we first meet up with Rotation 16 in September 2011, it is our second encounter. Months earlier, we watched them fight another battle. It's captured in fine detail. The old ways of trekking in secretly for days have given way to fast insertion missions. What you are seeing is a practice run for Afghanistan played out on a secluded Australian Army base, drawn from real-time experience. The soldiers are trained not just to fight, but to collect evidence. As the mission in Afghanistan evolves into a transition phase, the battlefield evolves into one giant crime scene. Fingerprint and gunshot residue is collected. Witnesses are located and detained. The Kultana mission rehearsal is for the soldiers another in a long parade of brutal training programs that began with Special Forces selection.
It was a long, hard road. The whole course, or the whole reinforcement cycle is designed to sort of work you at your worst. Like, they break you down so that they see you at your worst, so they know how you're going to react to certain situations when, you know, you're tired, you're hungry, you haven't slept. But it goes for a long time, and you come back quite skinny from it, and I still haven't recovered.
The mission rehearsals can be a little too realistic. In October 2009, an experienced commando was killed at Kultana during a live fire exercise. The rehearsals have since continued using recently arrived Afghan nationals relocated to this remote corner of South Australia.
I living in Afghanistan, Warazgan Khas is my village, my father village, my grandfather village. Now go back Afghanistan. When I go Afghanistan, is Taliban kill me.
When we join rotation 16 as the football's final season approaches at home, the fighting season here is already underway.
Yeah, everyone's absolutely pumped. Everyone's looking forward to it.
We've received some significant amount of intelligence regarding a Taliban drug lab in northern Helmand.
Over 120 soldiers, mostly commandos, alongside teams of Afghan police from the Narcotics Interdiction Unit and local Special Response Team, will fill 2 US C-130s. They will cross into a neighbouring province where previous fighting has been far fiercer.
It took us 2 weeks of fighting to get into position. Once we're in position, we fought for the 6 days. It was estimated that we had up to 5,000 insurgents against us, which was our aim, to draw them up to us so this relief in place could happen. They had indirect fire support, we had indirect fire support. They had heavy machine guns, we had heavy machine guns. It was one-on-one type, not one-on-one type fighting. It was large-scale offensive fighting.
An Australian commando is dead and another soldier seriously wounded after battling the Taliban.
I extend my deepest sympathy to Sergeant Langley's family, his friends and comrades.
Earlier in Helmand was the beginning of a savage run for Special Forces. These steps proved the last for an experienced and decorated commando, Sergeant Brett Wood.
You're right, you're right. You're right, you're right.
Within weeks in the same area,